For my entire career, I have assumed Uber and Lyft pay me the same rates. And in the past, that was the case. So I wanted to look at the rate cards for Sacramento and San Francisco for Uber and Lyft, and I discovered there are no more rate cards. So we're getting paid an upfront amount, but we have no idea how they're calculating that. An algorithm is calculating that. So what I wanted to figure out is, am I getting paid the same by Uber as I am by Lyft? Because in the past, I could document that. But we don't know. It's called black box, right? There's an algorithm, the information goes in and comes out the other side. So in this video, I'm going to share with you an experiment I did where I charted 25 rides, and I'm going to show you what the results were. And stick around, because at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you that one company definitely paid me more, and I'll show you who that is. Stick around. Hey everybody, it's Jay Crater with the RideShare Guy. Drinking a Starbucks Nespresso at my house. Very good. All right, so by way of background, the only figure that matters to me is how much am I getting paid per hour? How much am I getting paid per hour? So you can look at how much you were getting paid, divide it by the number of minutes, multiply it by 60, and then you've got your pay per hour. I wanted to find out, am I getting paid the same per hour for Lyft as I am for Uber? Because obviously if there's a difference, I should be driving more for the one that's paying me more. Is it a little difference? A big difference? Well, as you're going to see, it's pretty substantial. I was quite surprised. So let's jump into this. Okay, number one, raw data. So if you're going to do this, and I suggest you do if you're in a market where you have both Uber and Lyft, and they both can give you a consistent amount of rides, what I did is every time I got a ping, I would do a screenshot. And I collected 25 screenshots, as you'll see right here, for Uber. Okay, so there's 25 screenshots of rides that I was offered. And then next you're going to see 25 screenshots for Lyft. So the number of screenshots isn't important. I wanted it to be, a fairly decent number, not just a couple. I wanted it to be more than 10, and I was able to get 25 over a couple of different weekends. A lot of times I would forget, I'd hit the two things and it would shut the phone down and I missed it. So it could be a little frustrating to remember to do it. But I managed to get 25 of each. Number two, crunching the numbers. So this took about like a half an hour. So what I did is I took all of those little screenshots and I put them into a spreadsheet. And I evaluated what was the average dollar that I earned per hour for each of the two companies. So the first one you're looking at here is Uber. So as you can see, there's 25 rides, and I did the time and the miles. But the thing I'm most interested in is the revenue per hour. And as you can see over on the far right, the lowest paying ride was $10.95 per hour. And the highest paying ride was $33.90 per hour. So first of all, I got to say, that's a big difference. So this, I want to emphasize, and I made a whole video about this, the importance of being selective about your rides. When you see a ride that's only paying you $10 an hour, don't take it when you can have rides that are paying $25 to $30 an hour. But as you can see here again, the average, the bottom right, is $21 per hour. Now that's before any bonuses, that's before any surge, and that's before tips. Okay, that's just raw rides. Next, we're going to look at Lyft. Lyft, same information, and what we see here is that the lowest ride with Lyft was $17 per hour, and the highest was $51 per hour, and the average, okay, for the 25 rides for Lyft was $25.41 per hour. Number three, let's compare numbers. So this really surprised me. So as you can see, there's a scale there, okay? And the information we have is that Lyft is paying me $25 an hour, whereas Uber was only paying me $21 an hour. Now, if you do the math, let's say you work a 40-hour week and you do 50 hours in a year, that's like $8,000 difference. So the interesting thing is I had a gut feeling that Uber was paying me more. But in fact, I was completely off. As I was starting to, look at these numbers like, oh, wow, Lyft is actually paying more. And you may say, well, how can that happen? We have no idea how these algorithms are churning the numbers. They take into account who you are, what kind of rides you've accepted in the past. If you accept, less paying rides, they probably are going to give you more or less lower paying rides. And apparently I'm syncing with Lyft better than with Uber. And every driver in every market is going to be completely different. So that's why I suggest you do at least 10 of Uber and 10 of Lyft and do your own little comparison. But in my case, it's like a 15% difference. And that's going to change my driving behavior because I'm all about making as much money as I can. I also love Lyft more than Uber because they have the auto accept. So I can just drive here, let them tell me that I've got my next ride ready to go. Your next ride has been added to the queue. And so that's always been a favorite feature of mine with Lyft. Now I see that they're paying me more. That's just extra bonus. So what are the key takeaways here? So I would say the key takeaway here is you can't assume Uber and Lyft are paying you the same amount of money because in my case, they're not. And I bet they're not with you. It used to be that they all played with the same kind of rules. But now we've got these algorithms, this artificial intelligence, which is spitting out these upfront fares for you specifically, which is different than for me. In other words, if you and I were both in our car and we were offered the exact same ride, there's a good chance that we would get offered a different upfront fee. So that's why it's important that you do your own research and figure out, who's paying you the most, because that can affect directly how much money you make. And of course, we want to make as much money as we can while we're out there driving, okay? Now, you also have to, the other key takeaways, you got to take into account the bonuses that are being offered by each company, the surge that's being offered by each company, and if you think tips would be different with one company or the other. I find my tips are about the same between Uber and Lyft. I do find that Lyft has better surge and more of it. So that's another benefit to Lyft. So what the analysis I just showed you is purely rides without either of those other three things that you could add to your revenue. It was quite eye-opening for me, and I was surprised to get the results that I did. But I'm really glad that I took the time to conduct this little experiment because like now this weekend coming up, I'm planning to drive more for Lyft, right? And make more money actually than I had been making driving for Uber over the last 4 or 5 months. So made a big difference. All right, so that's it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Please give it a thumbs up because that allows more people, more drivers to see it. More drivers need to understand that the pay isn't necessarily the same between Uber and Lyft. And if you have the option of making a selection, this is valuable information. So give it a like. If you haven't subscribed yet to our channel, subscribe, join us. We'll keep bringing you good content almost every single day of the week. And go out and have a great day. Go tell somebody you love them. Be safe out there. Bye for now.